Hi.
Oh, okay, it's working. Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and start. We're starting in about a minute.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
did he
Actually,
did the other email go through?
yeah, that's what I was just about to do is text him and see if you got it.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey,
All
he
right.
got it.
There we go. It works.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. So, welcome to the fifth hour of the Creepy Channel Crawl. The channel you're watching is Bunyip's Horror Gallery. And today I am joined by Barnshow Productions, and I actually checked out a few of your guys' trailers and shorts, and it was awesome. And I just want to hear more about what your channel's about.
Cool. Yeah, Frankie, you want to start?
Yeah, no. Well, right now, I mean, we're in the very like premature stages of everything, um, but we're really excited. I mean, we've had this idea for a while, and Campfire Volume One obviously is the first volume of an anthology that we're going to do. And, along with that, we're also doing some micro shorts monthly as well. So we're just trying to push out as much content as possible right now, just to get out there and see what people think of what we can make.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Campfire today. I checked it out and I thought it was really interesting and I liked how it was shot. And I was very intrigued by the ending of that short that you guys had. I wanted to see more and just see who that guy was right at the end.
No,
Awesome.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's always really good to hear.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess you were saying that that was part of a bigger project, right? Um, when
Yeah.
is more of that coming out?
So what we're doing is we're it's like Frankie said, it's an anthology series where each either episode or short or maybe feature, depending on what we get, but each one is going to feature a different musician. The first one starred Skylar Crum from He Is Legend, and we have a couple of other musicians so far that we're talking to about starring in the next couple. So that's really the gist of what we're doing with that project. Is each one is the lead will be some musician, and we'll create the story together. Um, or that's how we did it. The first one. We didn't quite get to do it together, but hopefully in the future we'll get to collaborate a lot more with the artist and create something, as a team like that. So that's more or less it. That's what we want to do with the project overall.
That's awesome. There's a lot of different things going on, and I just think it's so amazing that you guys are pulling all of this and putting it together. So you guys are from Texas, is that correct?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And how did everybody come together in creation of Barn Show Productions?
Well, Barnshow is really we're very family oriented, um, and I think that's the most important thing. Like we all grew up together. I mean, we met in high school. Colin and I actually met in a very funny way when Colin's family they moved from Arkansas when I was in high school, and Colin's just a guy we just hung. I kind of started hanging out with, and the first time I go over to his house is introduce myself to his parents. We come to find out that our older brothers had actually hung out together in high school. Never knew that. They were like best friends in high school, and then me and him just randomly meet in high school and become best friends. So it was almost like it was some sort of destiny. And
Yeah.
so we were friends like that, and we did music first. We loved music. I mean, the reason it's called Barnshow Productions is actually because behind Colin's house was this old barn that wasn't being used for anything because we're kind of from the country, and we turned it into our own venue. We didn't have a venue to go to. The closest venue to us, I think, Colin was like 45 minutes away. In
Yeah.
North Houston was the closest venue, so we literally made our own venue out of this barn. He had a band, I had a band, a couple other bands started, and we just did it kind of guerrilla style. And ever since then, we've just been about entertaining people, and it's just kind of naturally shifted to film now. And now we're trying to get this film thing off the ground as kind of that's why we're excited, dude. All the music in Campfire is done by us, with the exception of one song. So all the music's completely original. All the songs are original. And that's going to be pushing, I think, too, is something that we're going to be pushing out too. Is all the music we're doing is completely original in everything we do.
Yeah, I read that on your website when I went and checked it out, and I saw that. So, what things are you guys? What kind of instruments do you guys play? Is there a specific one that you're more drawn to?
Well, we were both singers in the bands that we were in that we did for the longest. But I grew up. My dad taught my brother and I guitar when we were just kids, and so I've grown up doing that. And within the past couple of years, I've really gotten back into guitar pretty heavily and playing just like a whole lot, and working on new music with my brother a lot. So I've been primarily focused on guitar, but of course, like bass and everything that comes along with trying to write a cohesive song, I've been dabbling in. Not drums. I'm terrible at drums. But my brother, luckily, is a phenomenal drummer. So yeah, that's what the Never Seen Kid stuff is more or less me and my brother writing a bunch of shit. That's it.
Yeah, it's that's something we're really press is we're willing to do, even if it's there's going to be a lot of, like, I guess learning curves and things like that, as we venture down this film path. But I think doing it all original is something we're really focused on. Like, we don't want to cut any corners. We don't want to use any stock sound effects, and even all the Foley in Campfire was all us, and we've never done that before. So we're just trying everything we possibly can. It was literally me, Colin, and Cody and Becca in a garage, like walking on pallets and trying to get different sounds out of stuff and looking on the internet of what they did for what to figure out things. I mean, we're literally learning as we go. So we're only going to get better from here. And that's what really excites me, to see what this company can do in, next year, by the end of this year, what we're going to put out this year.
I think that's amazing, like collecting your own sounds and everything. That is just really cool. So what drew you to creating short horror films?
Oh, horror in general, man, I've been drawn to since I was way too young to be watching horror movies. Like, my brother and I started out like as kids, like watching everything we could get our hands on. And for me personally, it was Friday the 13th, and I know for Cody as well, my brother, and Frankie has some really terrible horror movies that he liked as a kid too. But, yeah, for me it was Friday the 13th, and just that whole feeling of basically just a cabin in the woods, which is of course why that's the first thing I went to do in Campfire. I was like, well, I know these elements, so that's what I'm going to use, is a cabin in the woods. So yeah, like I just loved it growing up. Like, I was never scared of anything like the horror movies wise at all, except Halloween 2. I don't know what reason, but that scared the living shit out of me. Michael Myers in the hallways of that hospital was just terrifying. But otherwise, I was just more intrigued than anything. So it was always just something that I was kind of drawn to and had a strong interest in. And I absolutely love horror movies now. And so yeah, I just kind of grew up into it, I guess. I wanted to see what I could do.
I think horror for me has always just been a genre that can really evoke emotion, in ways that other movies can't. They can, the ability for a filmmaker to, scare you or have that, have that effect on you, it just is, connect with you through a media is amazing. And I think that's what attracts me to horror, especially. Yeah, Colin, we have completely different styles. Like, I didn't watch a lot of Friday the 13th, and I mean, he actually showed me a lot of that stuff when we met. I was more on like the kind of out, like I watched horror movies like The Gate was a big influence on me. I love I love The Gate a lot. I love like those kind of out there more trauma. I'm a big trauma fan. Like, I love The Toxic Avenger, Tromeo and Juliet, Terror Firmer, Redneck Zombies, all that stuff I was into. So all that kind of like B-movie, very indie, like self-taught guerrilla style stuff is what I'm into. So that's what excites me about this project, is we're very much going for it, in the sense that, you know, instead we're very much perfectionists when it comes. We're critics. We're all critics, especially I think us, you know, and meeting you guys and getting to know you guys through the chats we've had over the past couple of weeks is we're all critics, and so we're all very self-critical. And I think one of the toughest things as a critic is to put something out there for other people to critique. And so we almost didn't release this because we didn't get to film a lot of stuff we wanted to. The hurricane affected some reshoots. We only got the main actor for 2 days to film this entire thing. So we basically had to boil it down to this narrative that we have now instead of this other extensive narrative we have, or not do it at all. And we just kind of went with we're going to do this no matter what. We're going to put something out. And so I'm glad we did. I'm proud that we did because, like I said, it's only going to go up from here.
That's awesome. So you have like a mix of everything that inspired your horror journey, basically. That is awesome. So what is maybe a director that you guys look up to and maybe were inspired by while creating all of these films?
Yeah, well, I think for me, the direct inspiration to start filmmaking was Robert Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
He did Desperado and Jesus, I mean, Robert Rodriguez, you know, he did a lot of stuff, but all my favorites anyway. And he wrote this book after he, you know, was successful, and it was called Rebel Without a Crew. And he just talked about how he made his first movie, Mariachi, and he made it for like next to nothing, and he didn't have a crew at all. He just had like a few buddies willing to help him out, and so he kind of did this thing, and it's really inspiring to me. And because I'd had an interest in filmmaking, but I was like, all right, this is something that we just won't be able to do because, you know, it's going to like cost so much money and like the time and dedication. And what I took away from the book is that, like, if you want to do this, just get off your ass and fucking go do it, you know? And like, so that's what we did. So for me, that was the biggest inspiration. There's a ton of directors that I'm really into, and I know Frankie's a huge Edgar Wright fan. And that guy, he's absolutely amazing. There's a lot of directors that I like and I'm definitely influenced by, but this project and the inception of this whole production company is directly related to that book and Robert Rodriguez and Mariachi, but in particular Desperado for me. That was I mean, I even like, there's a lot of movies that I like way better than Desperado, but there was something about that. It was the first time I saw like behind the scenes stuff was like on Desperado. And Frankie and I were actually on the set of a Rodriguez movie on this Battle Angel Alita that filmed last year, I think. Mm-hmm. And Frankie and I went to be extras in that movie, which more or less amounted to us just sitting around in the dirt for like 12 hours all day. It was a really miserable experience. But one scene, like this was before we did Campfire, before we started filmmaking, there was this one scene that they were shooting, and I kind of weaseled my way up till I was right behind a camera. I mean, like, here's the camera, and I'm like standing right here, and I'm like, yeah, I was so excited. It was just really cool, and like what I got from that, I was like, well, damn, I was like, this is exactly how I would be doing this, but they just have way more expensive gear. I was like, dude, we should just totally go ahead and like do this. Like, this is the same thing that we would do. And so we did. That's it.
That's awesome. It sounds like a really interesting experience. What about you?
I would say, as far as like directors, I can think off the top of my head. Obviously, Edgar Wright's one of my most recent favorite directors. I think what he did with Cornetto trilogy and is just amazing. If you haven't seen Baby Driver and you're into filmmaking, just go watch Baby Driver, just as from a filmmaker aspect of how amazing it is for him to just get the timing and editing and
an editor. Yeah. Watch that. Jesus, as an editor.
You know, Tarantino obviously is a big to us. I think we both, when Kill Bill was huge, you know, that was right in our wheelhouse, right at the time we were in high school and stuff. And then if you want to go back, I mean, the first book I read about filmmaking was All I Learned all I need to know about filmmaking I learned from the Toxic Avenger, Nick Hoffman, who runs Troma, and that really taught me that you can make a movie. Like, all you really need is a camera to make a movie, and just the want for it. I mean, the stuff that he did in that, you know, as far as using a watermelon for a head with literally a smiley face drawn on with a Sharpie when someone's head needed to explode. So they just they didn't let any hurdles, you know, stop them. They didn't have the money to do a shot. They found some way to do it, you know. And I think that's really inspiring in the sense that I think you can't let anything stop you, especially in this business, because if you let all those hurdles get in your way, you'll never put out a movie. You'll just never do it. I think especially the people in this, you know, little channel crawler we're doing right now, I think they do that more than anything. These people are pumping out so much content. I mean, it's unbelievable. And that's something that we need to take notice and, you know, do that as well. It's what we're going to try to be doing, as well as putting out a lot of content for people to enjoy.
Awesome. I'm excited to see what more you put on your channel, because just the little bit that I saw, it was really entertaining.
And we have tons of ideas for new stuff too. A lot of projects that are slated that we're to actually work on. We're actually doing some stuff with Mr. Black Pasta, his channel. We're going to be doing a couple collaborations with him, and then there's a lot of other stuff that we got kind of backlogged that we're going to get around to.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys both write the scenes together, as well as with the artists that you're working with the musicians, or what kind of experiences do you draw on? Do you draw on like any sort of scary experiences that you've had, or that the musical artists have had, or what exactly?
Yeah. So I would say the ideas and stories are all kind of collaborative. So for instance, our buddy Joshua, who was the DP on the first campfire, he came up with the idea for it, and I wrote the script, and that's how we got that one made. This next campfire episode that we were the script, I just finished the script for that one. My wife, I was like, hey, I'm looking for the story, and she's like, how about this? And they just give us this like amazing idea for a story. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I wrote that script. But there's, as far as like inspiration, I mean, we for me, writing, it goes like, I'll get kind of a general idea of what I want to focus on, and then all the tiny little nuances and things I will definitely take from like personal experiences, or like some type of inspiration from things that I've experienced. But honestly, like, it usually just boils down to whatever makes me feel really uncomfortable when I think about seeing it played out. Because I think I like things that make you uncomfortable more so than just what I know is going to be a good scare.
Mm-hmm.
I find that to be ultimately more just, well, certainly unsettling and just terrifying and visceral. I like that a lot better than like jump scares and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely more. I think what we're going for is like if you want to describe us, our horror is we're not going to do the traditional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as like traditional, maybe over the past 10, 20 years, what we're looking back is we want to throw back to like, as far as Hitchcock and things like that, kind of swing the camera to the right and insinuate what's going on and let the viewer, put the pieces together, instead of just like explaining it A plus B equals C. We're gonna let the viewer really, put the puzzle together for themselves, because I think that's, it's more gratifying for them. And then when it comes to writing, I don't do any of the writing. Colin our dynamic is really great. I think we play our roles very well. Colin's very the artistic one. He does all the writing, the ideas, the directing, and then I come in as like the technical mind, do all the editing and things like that, and tell him why he can't do any of the things that he wants to do. why they won't work, and why that type of budget, things like that. He was writing the script we were talking about the other day. He's like, yeah, and then she throws him in like 9 directions, and I was like, do we have stuntmen that we're gonna all of a sudden to throw these guys around? Because I don't think me and you are gonna be jumping off buildings anytime soon.
Oh, certainly not. Yeah.
So that's one of the hard things I feel for him, you know, and we've talked about that too, that's one of the hard things I think independent filmmakers especially face, and you guys know as creators, is you are limited. Some of your ideas, like, it's not like if we wanted to write this huge sci-fi epic, you know, like, you know, set in some planet, that we really could, because we just don't have the budget. So I think it does kind of limit your wheelhouse. And I think that's kind of why the first thing we did right was so like simplistic, a cabin in the woods that we're just comfortable with, because I know, you know, once we branch out to stuff, that the budget and is going to limit us a lot to, you know, exactly what we can do, but we're going to make it work.
Yeah.
You mentioned Hitchcock. What is one of your favorite Hitchcock movies?
Oh, Birds.
Oh, I love The Birds.
I remember that growing up. I remember my parents watching that. I remember, like, I was supposed to be in bed, and I'm like looking, you know, through, like, around the doorway, like watching it while they're watching it, because I'm not allowed to watch it. I still have memories of that. And Twilight Zone too. I mean, I know that's, but that's another one too. Like, that kind of, we really want to go for that kind of, like, really deep, like, really involved horror, I think, instead of just like these simple. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I think everything has its merits, and I get scared by every time I see a jump scare. It's just, you know, I think everyone's kind of gone to that, and we want to stay different from the status quo.
Right.
Oh, well, and we put a jump scare in this first little micro short we put out. We specifically put a jump scare, but it was more of like a nod to, or it was like tongue in cheek kind of, you know. It's like I don't know how, you'd have to see the thing, but we'll put that up pretty soon. But yeah, we put a jump scare in. So a lot of the things we did, I guess, just for example, like in the first campfire, they're kind of like to pay homage to certain horror cliches, but in like a different way. Like in you said you watched the movie already?
Yes.
So I don't want to give it too much away because we haven't put it up yet, but like when Skylar's lying on the table in the cabin, that scene, right? Like, so you can't really see anything of what's happening, but it sure is implied what's happening, you know? And I enjoyed that a lot.
Some of those sounds there towards the end, it was just like painful to kind of like feel it, you know?
Well, that's awesome. That's great to hear. Like, that's we really had a lot. That stuff to us, I think, you know, and I think true filmmakers, stuff's fun. You know, doing film, it's a lot of hard work. It really is. It's tedious. It's annoying to sit there and like punch a piece of lettuce 900 times to get the right sound. And then
was that what that was? Lettuce? I was kind of like imagining it was like meat or something like that.
It was lettuce, I think celery, maybe.
Celery at the end too. So I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Like squeezing in a grapefruit to make the fishy sounds.
Yeah. So we've learned and that's in a lot of horror. So basically, what you're hearing on a lot of like guts is just fruit and vegetables, essentially.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a pretty good time, actually.
It was fun. I mean, it was hard work. I mean, like I said, it was especially hard because we're all new at this, and we're learning. Like, none of us knew. I took a little bit of editing, and like I did a film in college, but I literally dropped out my second semester of college because I got went on tour with my band, and so I never like really got in depth. I kind of learned Final Cut a little bit. So when we were doing this, you know, I had to learn DaVinci, and DaVinci was free. That's why we used it. So I had to learn DaVinci, then edit, and then we used Ableton to record sound. So, and had to round trip that into DaVinci. So we're learning as we go, and it was super frustrating, but totally worth it when I look back on it.
Yeah, and totally satisfying too, I bet, when it all came together.
Definitely satisfying. Like each little it started off like each scene that we'd get something done, we'd be blown away. And then when Frankie started cutting together like these larger sequences, God, it was so satisfying to see, like remembering back to like lying on my stomach on the ground in the middle of the woods to get these shots and getting like bug bites on my belly, to know like all of what went into that. And then to see it like played out on a monitor, man, it was pretty satisfying.
That's awesome. So if you guys were in a real life horror based on your location and everything, what horror movie genre would you be in?
Oh God, it'd be early '80s. Let's see, anything with like a summer camp feel. Um, or I guess you could always go Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but we're way more East Texas than that vibe. So like, I don't know, something out in the woods, like Evil Dead. We could be Evil Dead. Got all of that going on.
Sam Raimi, that's who we forgot to mention. Of course, Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Raimi.
Yeah. I think I would be a zombie genre.
I was gonna say Sam Raimi, excluding the Spider-Man trilogy.
I'm a Spider-Man. I can hang out with Toby. No, I'd definitely be a zombie genre. Like, I wrote a script. The only thing I've ever written, my friend Justin and Zach wrote a script called Thriller Zombies, which the premise was, I wrote this in college. So the premise of Thriller Zombies was Michael Jackson's 25th anniversary of Thriller came up from all the lawsuits. So he couldn't afford like a real video. So he used all the rest of his money to buy secret ooze from this rat and these and he bought the secret ooze and he pours it on these graves. And when the zombies come up, he's like, hey guys, just do the dance like this. He's trying to teach them to do the dance, and then they run amok. So that was a script I wrote. So I think I would be in a movie much like that.
I would totally watch that.
A really good way of illustrating why I write our scripts.
Yeah, it was a fun script. Dude, I had a lot of. I wanted to make a zombie movie that was kind of like Airplane. And so that's why I wrote Thriller Zombies, to be like if the Zucker brothers wrote a zombie script. But then Shaun of the Dead came out, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of it. And it kind of ruined my idea.
Yeah. I love horror comedies too. So, I mean, that I would watch that.
It would be pretty interesting, right? Like Michael said. But now, all the current events, I don't know. I'd have to update it to current events, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. So who is your favorite horror queen out there?
Oh, what's her? Oh, I was just talking about her. I know what Colin would say, which I guess Colin, easy. And that would be Jamie Lee, I would imagine.
How did you know? You don't know me. That's that's not fair. Of course I was going to say Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean,
Jennifer Tilly. I like Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly. It's not bad.
That's another one. I love Chucky. That was another movie I loved. Child's Play growing up. It was amazing. It was good. Scared the crap out of me as a kid. I was scared of dolls for that reason. But so Jennifer Tilly definitely.
Awesome.
What about you? What's yours? What's your scream queen?
I love Jamie Lee Curtis, and I love Catherine Isabel, and yeah, those two right now are like my favorite.
Oh, you know who I've really come to like recently, since he mentioned Chucky, was Fiona Dorff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She is so cool, man. I really like her a lot.
She was really good. I didn't enjoy
that. And what is that girl's name? Feruza.
Oh,
from The Craft.
Yeah.
I like her a lot as well. I can't remember her name, but yeah.
Feruza is correct.
Is that right?
I think so. I'm not too sure.
We'll go with that. Oh, you guys know the girl from The Craft. We Are the Weirdos, Mister. That girl.
Yeah, the cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Feruza Balk.
Feruza Balk. Yeah.
I'm saying.
Does Neve Campbell count as a scream?
Oh yeah, you love the screams too. Yeah.
And she's literally a scream queen.
Oh, I see what you did there. Mm.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really tired. I'm not writing comedy right now, man. I'm just trying to get through an interview.
It's all right.
So what was the last horror film you guys watched?
The Ritual. I actually watched.
I haven't seen that yet.
You totally should.
Yeah, it is a really does some classic themes really well. The kind of stuff we were just talking about, like, and then really flips it. It's
Yeah, I've watched that movie a couple times already. It is really, really good. Really, it's just really well done.
The flashbacks that Colin was telling me about, the flashbacks, and I won't give too much away, but the guy flashbacks to like they're in the middle of the woods and he flashbacks to like a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they do those flashbacks is like just the shelves and stuff from the convenience store just kind of bow up inside, but they still got grass on the ground. So it's kind of like a mix of the realities, which is
Oh,
really
that's cool.
Yes,
Yeah, awesome.
and it's subtle and just really great.
That kind of reminds me of like Final Girls when they were telling the story and they had that flashback and the mixing of realities.
Yeah, that was really good too. It's pretty similar to that actually. My wife and I have been watching American Horror Story.
Mm-hmm.
What is that called? The Roanoke one? Like I've been a fan.
Yes, I just saw that one.
I love that, and I haven't been a fan of American Horror Story. I watched the very first season. I thought was really cool, and then I really didn't like most of them after that. I liked the second one a little bit, and then they just turned to crap for me. But this one, man, it was really, really cool. I really liked it. I haven't seen the cult thing yet, but I definitely liked the Roanoke one. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, my favorite was the first season as well. I felt like they never topped that, but
Yeah.
This second to the last season was interesting, and the Hotel was okay for me. I kind of liked that one.
I never finished it. Like I thought the cinematography was really well done, but I don't know, something that just seemed real boring to me. I tried to get into it, but
I think the problem with like those kind of shows, what I've noticed at least when you do an anthology, but you keep the same actors, is it's hard to keep pushing those same characters over and over again in new roles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've liked them or believe them or seen them as something else within that universe, and then you try to push them as a new role. Might be kind of why it seems boring. You know, I think I like better when anthologies refresh it with like new, maybe like have one key actor that's in like every one or something. But
oh, dude, I forgot. That's not even the latest thing I've watched. What's that fucking called? Channel Zero. It's on Sci-Fi. So it's Channel Zero, and what they're doing is they're telling creepypasta stories.
Oh,
Like from actual creepypasta stories, and they're miniseries, like 6-episode miniseries. And the first one was Candle Cove, which was one of my favorite creepypastas. And it's just well, I know they're all like, oh, it's creepy, but this was really freaking creepy to hear. And they did a damn good job. Like it's so cool. And then we watched No End House, which is another one they did, and that was pretty good as well. But yeah, you should definitely check that out. And it's
I hadn't heard of that one.
God, known for their not great quality in filmmaking over at Sci-Fi, but it's really cool and it's really well done. What are you scowling at? They have some stinkers in the Sci-Fi channel.
I still watch all of them too.
Yeah, everybody still watches them all, but you know what I'm talking about. You look at it and you're like, all right, this is a Sci-Fi channel movie.
Yep.
But, there was none of that with this Channel Zero, man. They were on top of it. It was good. It's good.
Nice. I've never heard of that one. I have to check it out. I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, for sure.
Are there any horror movies that you're looking forward to coming out this year?
Halloween.
Oh, yes, definitely. I've
been excited about that. Oh my gosh, for a long time now. Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Death House. I'm excited to see Death House a lot.
Yeah, hell yeah, good call. Yeah, Death House.
That's coming out. I think next week?
This month, yeah, next week, something like that.
Wow, so soon.
Yeah, we did. We actually got the opportunity. Courtney Palm, who's in Death House, we actually got to do a little reel for her to help her out because she was just on Twitter one day asking help. So we got to see a little bit of the Death House footage, which was cool.
Nice.
And so we're excited to see that. And that's just cool to see an indie film push that hard and get the kind of media that it did, and being able to open in theaters and stuff like that as an independent film is pretty awesome. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, and Harrison Smith, the guy that directed that, was pretty cool. He actually he talked to me a lot and gave me a lot of advice about filmmaking and stuff. I had some pretty specific questions about things, and he was really helpful and like spent several at least a couple hours a Saturday morning like talking to me, which was blew my mind because it's like, oh my god, he's directed Kane Hodder in a movie and like it's gonna answer some of my questions. Like I was really stoked on that. So thanks, Harrison. He's a pretty good dude.
Mm-hmm.
Have there ever been any movies that you couldn't finish, that maybe they were so terrible or you just couldn't stand watching it for another minute?
Frankie, what was that? I don't know if that was a horror movie. Oh yeah, it was the damn outer space spider stuff. Like, remember we found on Netflix?
Oh yeah, that's one of our favorite things to do is dig through Netflix and find out these really like just overproduced, movies with no heart in it, and then just like rip on them. It's a lot of fun. But, yeah.
Tremors 5.
Jamie Kennedy, the Tremors of Jamie Kennedy. Oh, where Jamie Kennedy's like 50 and he's trying to act like he's a teenager still, and
he's like,
you couldn't finish it.
No, I think we did finish it. Beer maybe got us through that one, but the damn spider thing, I don't know what that was, but there was that one recognizable actor.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. What was his name? Yeah, that was horrible. It was like an end of the world scenario.
Yeah, but it was like
these giant spiders.
The only thing I can think of that sounds like that is a movie called Big Ass Spider.
No, that wasn't that. No, that was
because I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was David Arquette, right?
Armageddon movie would be Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Eight-Legged Freaks. I haven't seen Big Ass Spider.
Yeah, Eight-Legged Freaks is amazing.
Yeah.
Not bad about that.
I can't remember what that movie was, but yeah, we turned that one off. It was pretty god awful.
Yeah, we do that a lot. We like to, watch bad movies and see if we can. But there's a certain way to do a bad movie to where it still has heart and charm, and still want to watch the thing because you can tell somebody has passion about it. And then there's just like this, like regurgitated. We're going to take advantage of the moment. Like the 2012 is a big movie, so we're going to make 2011, or we're going to make 2013, or Sharknado or whatever. Like, those kind of movies are the best ones to make fun of because it really is just like a studio trying to take advantage of a trend, using a buzzword in their movie basically, and really pushing it through as fast as they can. And you can just see it. It's just horrible acting and bad lines and everything like that. And if it's bad like that, those are hard to get through. Like those are hard because they're just not even funny. They're just really bad.
Right.
Those are the hardest ones to get to.
But Frankie and I recently, we've been doing these live tweets of some indie movies, and we've seen some really cool stuff that way, where basically we'll just watch a movie and then tweet along with what we like about it. And Frankie's gotten really good at making up these ridiculous hashtags based on like quotes from the movies, and it's a pretty good time. We've had like the directors and some of the actors like chime in and talk with us. We did BC Butcher, this Troma film, a couple weeks ago, and Kato Kalin like chimed in. He was one of the actors from it. It was a good time, man. So yeah, like if anybody's watching, you should definitely check that out and give us suggestions on which movies that we could live tweet because we kind of enjoy doing that.
We did the Slashing. We watched Slashing, which is a really good film. I recommend if you haven't seen the Slashing, and you, like you said, when you liked comedy horror, you'll love the Slashing. You can watch it on Amazon Prime for free if you have Amazon Prime, and it's
yeah, that was pretty funny.
That's the other thing. It's been great. I've noticed too in the horror community is man, the doors have really been opened with like things like Amazon Prime and YouTube, and ways for people to get their stuff out there and seen is more. It seems like easier, accessible more now than ever.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
I'll have to go check that out on Amazon Prime because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Slashing.
Are there any? Well, do you guys have any favorite book to film adaptations?
Book to film?
Yeah.
Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Yeah, Fight Club's probably my. That's probably my favorite movie, probably of all time.
Twilight. Definitely. No, I'm just kidding.
That took me a second. I was like, wait, what?
No, I'm excited to see Ready Player One. I really enjoyed that book, and so I'm excited to see that. I mean, it's kind of one of those rare movies where all the CG is acceptable, because if you've read Ready Player One, like half of it happens in a different universe, a CG universe essentially. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I'm with Colin. Fight Club is a really great adaptation. Fear and Loathing,
God, yeah.
Along that line is another great adaptation that I really, really enjoyed. Trying to think, I can't think of anything.
I really like any of them if you stay true to the source material. I mean, assuming you have good source material, which you certainly do with Fight Club and with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So there's not a lot of reason to change things. There's some, I don't know why this just jumped into my head, because I wasn't a super huge fan of the movie at all, but I Am Legend, like that movie had nothing to do with that book. I mean, kind of like broad strokes did, but like they just made it a completely different thing.
That's what I heard the Tower was. I heard the Tower's like that.
What, the Dark Tower?
The Dark Tower, or the film.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but yeah, it's supposed to be changed a lot. Like, don't mess up a good thing. Just like, yeah, it's a good book. Let's see what it looks like. People are moving around doing those things from the book. Dude, keep it simple. That's fine.
I think they're already gonna redo the Dark Tower as like a TV series because it didn't do very well.
Yeah, I would serve it better to be a series instead of a over blown up produced lump of shit.
I kind of stayed away from it because I heard it wasn't that great, so I haven't actually seen it yet.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Maybe that'll be a skip. Do you guys have a favorite on-screen kill that you guys want to talk about?
Have you ever seen Jason X?
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
That's the one where he goes to space, right?
Oh God, yes, it is.
On so many levels. Is that what you're about to say?
Huh?
You about to touch on so many levels?
No, that one's good. That one's right up there. But my favorite one, certainly from that movie, and this is just like the funnest one. Like if I had to think of legitimate kill, I'd probably go in a different direction. But this was so much fun. We all watched that in a theater together at like midnight. We were so stoked when that movie came out. And so anyway, Bronson is like hunting around looking for Jason, and Jason, of course, just comes out of the dark, out of the shadows, and just like stabs him with his I guess his machete. I can't remember. He stabbed him with something first, and he's like spitting blood out, and he's like, oh, it's gonna take more than a little poke in the ribs to put this little dog down. And so Jason's like, all right, asshole, and stabs him again, and he says, oh, yeah, that'll do it. That's the greatest shit I've ever seen. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And I would have to go when the little kid dies on Pet Cemetery by the 18-wheelers.
I mean, can't really get that bar you raised up there, asshole.
Pet Cemetery. I will say is that the one where he was under the bed and he cut the guys.
With a box? Was it a box cutter?
Yeah, that's. I'll never forget that scene. Like that scene's ingrained in my head too. Just like that's what I was talking about earlier. A movie, I think horror especially, can make you like. I literally felt that in my feet when I saw that, and I don't think you can get that from a lot of other genres and stuff. And that's what's really cool about horror. It's like I could feel that. I could like, oh, I was grabbing my feet, and that's
yeah.
Love about
anytime it's like the Achilles heel or like fingernails, I feel it.
Yeah, the kind of gets to me. Yeah, I've got a kill that I'm working on. I'll tell you about it when I see you again, Frankie. I'm not gonna say that shit right now because we are live. And
well, then that was you got everybody like, oh, I got an idea.
Left on a cliffhanger.
Hey, keep an eye out for everything we ever do. Maybe in one of those. I will say that it involves super glue and piano wire.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That does sound pretty vicious.
And it's also something I've been thinking about since I don't know, like junior high.
Oh, me and Cullen and Cody, his brother, we made a pseudo like zombie film in high school once. Like we filmed on a VHS camera, and Cody was a zombie. That's his brother, and he killed somebody with a tennis racket by smushing the tennis racket against their face until it started grading out of the tennis racket. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been meaning to email that production and ask to be uncredited in that shit.
Oh man, you're glued to that forever. Oh, that's awesome.
That sounds great. I would watch that too.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I remember the one direction I got from my director, who was Frankie.
Yes.
Like, I was running into to his actual bedroom. That's what we were like 17, 16 when we shot that thing.
Yeah.
And it was just like for fun one evening, and I had to run in and try to open a window to go out to like escape from my zombie brother. And Frankie's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm trying to open this window." He's like, "Just do it like a person might try to open a window."
Stop being you. Just be a person that knows how to open a window. It's a pretty simple direction. I figured. Yeah, you know, whatever. That's why I don't direct. That's one of the reasons, because I think I would get frustrated with people. It's like, look, you go in there, you tell them you don't love them, you cry, you walk out. I don't get what the big deal is. Let's wrap this up.
Since you guys do a lot with your music and your movies, is there a horror soundtrack that you really like to listen to at home?
That's a good question. I don't know. You have anything that comes to mind, Frankie?
As far as like original horror music and stuff, I mean, the problem with most horror music is it just seems to be a lot of like arduous sounds and things like that. But Stranger Things, that's the soundtrack to that is kind of what I think we were going for, with like the 80s synthesizer and the throwbacks and things like that in our movie. And that, yeah, so immediately when you think soundtrack, I think of Stranger Things, and just the soundtrack that is right on point and quite amazing.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie The Witch?
I have.
Yeah, so not so much the soundtrack, but just the score on that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that a lot when we were doing pre-production for Campfire. The way they would do like any of those simple push-in shots on like the wood line, they would just be like a flat shot, and they would just push through it like real slowly, and it was nothing. Like if you're just watching that with no sound, it's just like, oh, we're looking at these woods for it. But the score made it so tense that you wanted to look away, but you're like, God, is something about to happen? Like, what's going? And it was still just trees, man. There wasn't nothing there. Just looking at trees. But it was so uncomfortable and unnerving that's I loved it. Yeah, man, that whole movie was fantastic. That was such a good film.
Well, then, Halloween soundtrack. I mean, there's those classics, and of course Friday the 13th. The classics like that. Yeah, that's all I think off the top. I'm sure there's people leaving out that I can't.
Oh, yeah, Jason Liz, Alice Cooper was on there. That's so good.
Yeah, that's one.
That is good. That's a good soundtrack.
Soundtrack to Jason. Was the Scream 3 soundtrack featured Creed? That was pretty cool. Whoa there.
I'm gonna email this production. I have to be uncredited in this.
And seeing in the chat, Jaws theme.
Oh yeah.
That's something that sticks with you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, that was one of the things that Harrison Smith mentioned to me. It was Jaws. I was asking him about, just what I should learn and different things like that. And he said, find out everything that you can about the making of Jaws, because everything you ever need to know about filmmaking is in the making of Jaws. Huh.
Wow.
That's interesting.
I plan on getting a boat and just going out in the ocean. Just me and my camera. I'm gonna jump.
See it, just go. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see you surviving very long on a boat.
I mean, I don't know how to operate a boat, but
Yeah, that would be the main problem there. That's funny.
maybe I'll just start with bonus features on the DVD.
Yeah, we should put out one thing first before we worry about our features on the DVD.
No. I mean, instead of getting a boat, just look at Jaws behind the scenes features.
Oh yeah, just watch pictures.
Since that's literally what he told me.
Just of it. I got it. I got you.
So I also saw that you had another like teaser trailer for like, was it spring cleaning?
Yeah, so that's some micro shorts we're doing. They're going to be like 3-minute vignette kind of things, and so our first one should be out hopefully within by the end of this month. Spring cleaning will. We're going to start doing those. Almost like we want to put out content, but we also want to learn. We're still learning as we go. So before we tackle Campfire, Volume 2, we want to kind of, I guess, to get practice and try different things, and that way we can incorporate that when we do get to do Volume 2 of Campfire. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be focusing on right now, is putting out, trying to put out one micro short a month is our goal.
That's awesome. And I really liked your trailers too, because the trailers that you see nowadays for any movie usually gives too much away, and I felt like your trailers just made me want to watch and see what happened.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we were really focused on that, actually. Frankie did the trailer. I think he did an amazing job. Yeah, that's a big gripe that we have with modern filmmaking, is that certainly I love comic book movies, but you can watch the whole damn movie in like the first trailer. That's oh well, I get the plot. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a cool Easter egg here and there, but otherwise we know what's happened in this movie. And well, hell, not even just comic book movies, like any movie nowadays, the trailers give the whole thing away. And so
I usually try and stay away from all trailers if I want to watch the movie, just because of that.
Yeah.
And that's all the studio too. A lot of times the director has nothing to do with the trailer. Harris County puts that out, and yeah, we focused on. We took the advantage of using a lot of footage that didn't make the actual cut to put in the trailer, which I think it really annoys me when I see it in movies, but I like it because I'll see the trailer and then you go to the movie and none of the stuff necessarily. There's a lot of the scenes that were in the trailer aren't in the movie, and you're like, okay, well, but it doesn't spoil it. So a lot of just like establishing shots and things like that, we just used some B-roll. Plus, we took some really beautiful shots. So we got like some really Colin and his brother Cody did a great job on the cinematography, especially for being first timers. I mean, I like I said, I have a technical mind, but when I saw the footage of just the raw footage of what they had, I got excited as an editor. I was like, I can make something out of this. I can really do something with this stuff, and so they did a really great job. But some of the stuff that they did a great job on, just in the end, it didn't fit the narrative. It didn't fit, with the time constraints and everything we had, it just didn't fit. So we had to cut some really amazingly shot scenes. And so just, the ability to use some of that in the trailer was kind of, I don't know, justifying in some way that we got to use it somehow, a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess that's part of filmmaking. That's something I read too, is we kind of been keeping our mantra as like crude as it is, but you can't be afraid to kill your babies when it comes to filmmaking. A lot of these shots and things that you do, they become your babies and you're so proud of them. But when it gets time, to do the nuts and bolts, you can't be afraid to cut those. You can't be afraid to cut those scenes that you're so attached to. And we learned that firsthand this time. We had to cut a couple scenes that we just, spit hours, days on filming, and then they're just never going to be seen by us.
That's hard, but it really makes or breaks a movie, right?
Yeah, it totally does. And a lot of it was because of the time constraints, because we only had just like such a short amount of time with Skylar. And with, well, hell, all the actors in the whole movie, we couldn't get anybody back. So we had to film everything we could, like, it's kind of like run and gun. And so we got to film a lot of setups for some stuff, but then we didn't get to film like the second half. So it made no sense to have, it was all really beautiful footage. But but it would make no sense seeing it, you know, because it doesn't pay off later. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have enough time to do all that stuff. But it's still fun.
Kind of going back to soundtracks too, I think I just thought of this. We were reading the chat and stuff. I was still talking about like their favorite soundtracks. Would be really cool for a barn show being so musically, you know, focused. Is that, you know, down the road we want to do it with a lot of artists. Like I see, you know, Campfire Volume, you know, 20, you know, eventually, and it being, you know, with some but maybe some bigger artists, you know, that we all like know and love in like the indie realm, and we eventually want to get to the point maybe we do like custom soundtracks too, where the musician that's involved would do custom music and help with the music to the actual film itself. So the musician's not only involved in the writing process and on screen as the talent, but they're also involved in their comfort zone, which is doing the music for the film. So it's really like we want to really incorporate it and work it all fluid as one is our dream. I mean, we're obviously far from that, but I think that's eventually what we want to do is make it just completely incorporated. And I think, you know, that's great for people that are fans of certain musicians are going to be able to see their musicians in a different media. And that'll be really exciting. Not just a music video either, like, oh, here's our song and I'm kind of acting in it, but like an actual full-fledged like film that they get to be a part of.
I love that. That's so cool.
This chat is awesome. And I just say
there's a lot going on in there.
I just want to say too that all you guys watching everything, that we are brand new and you guys have really welcomed us. I mean, we really just met the people from the Horror Addicts TV and everything like a couple weeks ago, and they just let us be involved in this, and we're really don't deserve to be a part of this, but it's so awesome that we are part of this like little family and little you know, community in the horror genre. I just want to say, like, honestly, thank you guys so much for having us and supporting us, and hopefully we can, you know, put out content that you all enjoy as much as I enjoy watching all y'all's content.
Yeah, for sure.
It's an amazing little community. I love it.
Absolutely. It really is. I've been so surprised. I mean, on Twitter too, like we met all these, you know, we met everybody here on Twitter and just to be involved in that. And it's comforting to see like other people really putting it out there, you know, and it makes you feel like you can do it too, you know, because it's kind of daunting, especially when YouTube came out with this stuff like, oh, now you want to have a channel? Well, 4,000 hours of watch time. Good luck with that. You know, that's a big hurdle for some. This is really awesome to see the community come together and really do this. It's really great.
Yeah. Well, I think I probably should play our little outro, but it's been amazing talking to you guys and getting to know the story behind Barnshow Productions. And I know that everyone needs to go over and check your channel out because you guys have some awesome trailers and an awesome short up there for everyone to watch. But I want to say thank you again for joining us and talking about all these different horror related things with me.
And thank you so much. Absolutely.
All right. So now I guess everyone can go ahead and start clicking that link for Horror Show Entertainment. I'm going to go ahead and play this awesome end show from the Screaming Soup. So let me just try and do this. Technical things. All right, here we go.
Hell yeah, that is terrifying.
Channel Crawl 24-hour marathon continues, featuring today's up-and-coming horror tubers. Howdy, y'all. This is Dead West and Mandy from Screaming Soup, the web's #1 animated horror host show. We're proud to present the 24-hour marathon, Creepy Channel Crawl. We know the trials and tribulations of getting a YouTube channel up and running and how it's even tougher to get seen. Recently, YouTube's made it even more difficult with new rules saying any channel with fewer than 1,000 subscribers and less than 4,000 hours of view time from the past year can't monetize its videos. This not only prevents a channel from making any money from its efforts, but impacts its potential for being distributed on YouTube for viewers to discover it and become fans.
That's why the HorrorTube community has come together, resulting in this 24-hour marathon organized by the Horror Addicts. Every hour, a different YouTube channel continues a live broadcast, helping raise awareness for other horror-related channels at risk for not meeting these new requirements. We encourage you to help HorrorTubers in need of support by clicking those subscription buttons, watching their videos, and raising their viewing time. Visit HorrorAddictsTV.com for the full marathon schedule with links to each YouTube channel ready to go live for your screaming support.
Now don't y'all go nowhere, because this tag rodeo is just getting started. Click the link and follow this live stream and hoedown to the next exciting channel.
Next in the marathon, we have Horror Show Entertainment.
Don't run away.